Welcome or welcome back. I'm Caren, and this is a restorative yoga class for addressing fear, worry, and sadness. There are a lot of events in the world, especially in the past week, that have evoked these emotions within us. And my intention for our time together is to help you create a safe space to feel and process those emotions so that you can continue to show up and take action for collective change. When events in the world seem way bigger than us, and perhaps we feel hopeless and sad and like there's nothing we can do, I always come back to the first yama of yoga, the ethic of non-violence, of not just that, but reverence for all beings. And it helps to anchor into that space for ourselves so that we can show up and help others who are suffering. So for this practice, you'll need a chair, a couch, or a stool will also work. Several blankets, I have 3 or 4 here. Something to cover your eyes like a washcloth or an eye pillow, and a yoga bolster. And we're going to begin in a seat. So you could sit on your chair if that works better for your seated position. I'm going to prop myself up on a folded blanket. And we will start with a meditation inspired by Metta Meditation. You may be familiar with this. It's an abbreviated practice that I've been using in my own meditation practice lately. And we will also incorporate Hakini Mudra. And Hakini Mudra is the gesture of the goddess, the Hindu goddess Hakini, who presides at the third eye chakra, representing integration, wholeness, spiritual understanding. So simply take all of your fingertips together, touching from the pinkies all the way to the index, to the thumbs, and forming a bit of a globe, a unified shape, uniting right and left brain hemispheres, right and left halves of our body, and holding this above the solar plexus area or lower in your lap, in a comfortable space for your elbows and your shoulders to relax back and down. And if it feels safe to do so, close your eyes or simply take your gaze downward. As you settle into the feeling of all of the fingertips touching, also begin to notice your breath. When we get caught in cycles of fear and worry, the breath often becomes shallow and exists only in the upper chest. Drop into a relaxation with your breath, releasing all holding in the abdomen, and allow the breath to come to a more natural fullness. Breathing in from, as if you could, the base of your spine, and feeling that breath eventually lift up to the chest, up to the third eye center, through the nostrils, and then all the way back down on your exhale. Emptying out of the third eye, down through the nostrils, the breath sent out through the nose and feeling the space of your hands. Find a slower, fluid flow of the breath here. You are welcome to show up in this practice with whatever you are holding. Bring all of it here. And allow yourself to unravel breath by breath into a more still and silent place within. Starting with the simple words in your own mind, repeating to yourself, May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be happy. May I be at ease. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be happy. May I be at ease. Repeating in your own mind for a few moments. Shifting now to all beings. All beings involved in this prayer. May all be safe. May all be healthy. May all be happy. May all be at ease. Expanding the energy beyond yourself, sending that to all you'd like to target right now in your mind's eye. All beings, particular groups of beings perhaps, or sending a blanket of peace to the whole world. Ending the practice now. We've set the foundation and laid the nest for our restorative yoga practice of peace and ease. Feel one more time all of the fingertips connecting. And release the mudra, separating the hands, bringing them down to the knees or the lap, and gently allowing the eyes to open. If you're not already seated on your chair, please make your way there. We'll begin in supported seated forward bend using the chair. So you're just going to need to come to sit at the edge of the chair. Place your feet forward and parallel to one another with a bit of space so that when you lower your chest down to your thighs, you feel safe and held and contained. So just supporting yourself with your feet right underneath your knees, bending forward, using whatever sort of wiggles you need to inch and support your body down onto your thighs, Let your arms come down with the palms either stacking or nesting into one another, resting here as the head releases. The hands may or may not touch the ground depending on how far apart your feet are. And then really release the whole head if that feels safe for the neck, so that the crown drips down to the floor. Notice if there are any moments of tightness or pinching or tension in the legs, and you can experiment with walking the feet wider or closer to take out that tension. Allow the breath to feel expansive in the back. A bit of pressure building in the belly as you press down against the thighs. You feel that pressure building as you inhale. And as you exhale, release the breath entirely so that all of the muscles can let go in the arms, in the neck, all the way down to the soles of the feet. You might choose to close your eyes here. In these forward bending postures, they can often soothe feelings of fear and feeling out of control, feeling helpless. But it might also bring it up, stir up these feelings. And so if at any point in this practice there is a sense of wanting to cry or to get angry or whatever other emotion might surface, I encourage you to allow it to flow. To let it be here with you so that it can move through. As you continue to hold this pose, you might feel a broadening in your back, a willingness of the arms to release. Perhaps a warmth and a comfort in the legs. Just breathing and feeling. Bring your inner attention to one more cycle of breath, breathing fully into the back body. And as you release the breath, finding gravity once more, guiding you downward. And then starting to awaken fingers, arms, bringing them back to the chair. Holding on to the chair, push into the feet gently and lift up slowly. To avoid a head rush, keep your chin in until the last moment, and then let it lift up as you come all the way up. You might take your hands back a little bit on the chair or the couch or the stool and just press the shoulder blades together onto the back. Find your way now back down onto the floor, just seeing what's arrived, what sensation is here. We're going to flip around now and put our legs up the chair. So you might require extra blankets to bring the height of the chair to hold your thigh bones and your shin bones appropriately. So I'll show you in a moment. But first, just a blanket, a thin fold of a blanket for your head. If you have a thin pillow, you could use that too. And for me, I know with this chair, I need at least 3 blankets stacked. So sitting up against one side of the chair, swing your legs up, hook your knees right into the edge, and lie back down. Rest your head on the blanket behind you, and also bring the eye covering over top of your eyes now. Open your arms out to a V with the palms up. And check in with your legs, making sure that you don't have to hold them up, that they are able to be held up by themselves. The knees right above the hips. The feet are soft. And with a greater breath into your abdomen, let that press your navel upward. And as you exhale, sink into your back, relaxing your pelvis, low back, middle back, upper back. Use several breaths to systematically soften and relax all the muscles of the legs, especially the creases of the hips where they meet the pelvis. And also the back of the heart. You might still be processing emotions here, in which case it might not be a good idea to keep something over the eyes. So you can always take it off as you need. But gradually allow yourself to feel safe here. To give over your bones and the density of your body into the stability of the earth. Knowing that you are held. Become aware of any sensations in the body that feel more at rest or at ease. And allow yourself to take up space in those places. Amplify those feelings of ease. We recognize our humanity when we practice restorative yoga. Our ability to move through what is unpleasant, to come toward harmony and pleasantness again. not clinging to either, but freely flowing among them. And in that free flowing, we recognize that we can become aware of all of the states of our being, aware of our fear, aware of our worries and sadness. And that if we can become aware of them and that they can move through, that they are not essentially parts of us. That there is something steadier, an unchanging awareness that is our true nature. This is yoga. This is wholeness, union, integration with our wholeness. Slowly transition out by waking up the feet. Then pull one knee in toward your heart, followed by the other. You can remove your eye covering if you were using it. With the knees coming off of the chair and in toward the chest, roll to a side and rest there. Press yourself up slowly. And clear your mat space from a chair if you were using it. Just make sure you have some open space here. And we will move into supported child's pose. I've cleared my mat space for supported child's pose, so we'll bring the flat bolster up lengthwise, one part of your mat. Take another blanket and fold it into a rectangle fold, which is opening up a blanket about the width of your mat and folding the long sides over until it forms a shape that's very similar to the bolster. Placing that right on top. Another blanket will come onto the floor surface as a support for the knees and the ankles. If you're unfamiliar with these blanket folds, you can find all of the details in my Restorative Yoga book. You're going to take this back edge of the blanket and roll it up a few times. Coming to the bolster, separate your knees just to the edges of the bolster. Let your ankles rest over the lip of the blanket roll. Pull the bolster in slightly, and then you can either take another blanket to place around just your hips or your whole body. So any way that you can feel safe, covered, stable, and secure here with blankets over top of your whole body, go ahead and do that now. I'm just going to tuck mine here so you can see the shape as I come down. Lower down to the bolster with your belly, your arms come forward, and turn a cheek. If you notice that your heart is dipping lower than your hips, and your hips are raised higher over your heels, no problem at all. Build up what's in front of you so it's higher. So you could take even more blankets here and set that on top. The idea is to feel like you are being completely held, like there's no part of you that is efforting, but you are supported from the ground up. Once you find that optimum position for right now with the props, allow the eyes to close. Allow your body to soften. Feel that gentle sense of breathing into and across your back as you inhale. And as you exhale, letting go. Comforting any fears and worries with the props, the sensation of being held and cared for. If these emotions are still coming up, or there's tears, or however else they manifest, allow that also to be here. If it feels overwhelming, know that they will pass. As long as you allow yourself the courage to feel them, they will pass. I'll create some space now for us to rest in silence for a short period. Just feeling and breathing. Whatever's here, allow it to be here. And return to the one who is awareness, the part of you that's unchanging, not suffering, but witnessing everything that's happening in your experience. Invite one last fuller breath into your whole back. Emptying out, feeling yourself heavy into the props. Now find movement and lift up out of the position by pulling your hands closer in toward your knees. Pressing your palms down, lift your heart, turning your head back in line with the center of the chest. If you had a blanket over your whole body, set that off to the side and come into a table position, walking your knees back. Bringing the knees closer together, let's extend one leg back at a time. Tucking the toes under, push back into the heel. You'll feel a sense of renewed energy flooding through the leg. Do that one leg at a time, just observing, sensing movement and fresh flow. releasing some stagnancy and stuckness. So you come back down onto have a seat, whether that's on your heels or any other seat. We'll transition into our final position, which is basic relaxation pose, or shavasana, which translates as corpse pose. This is signaling that we enter a rebirth, that some part of us goes away through our practice and we rise up anew. And it is also an acknowledgement of our inevitability. So we do not take this lightly in the practice of yoga. We practice for this very reason, to greet the part of ourselves that is fearful. So take the bolster widthwise across the mat, and the blanket that you rolled up for your ankles, you're going to continue to roll that up and place that all the way at the back of the mat. Find another blanket and fold it for your head. I like a square fold, just like this, placing that here on the other side of the mat. You have a couple extra blankets here. Again, I would encourage you to place one across your whole body so that you can keep warm, but also feel comforted. Finally, keep your eye pillow or washcloth handy. Drape your legs over top of the bolster and your ankles over top of the blanket roll. And lie on down. Make any final adjustments here so that your head feels comfortable, your low back is at ease. And finally, reach for your eye covering. Take that over the eyes if you wish. Let the arms come open to a V with the palms up, with a spaciousness in the armpits, and a sense of relaxation all the way down into the soles of the feet. Fear of death is one of the kleshas in yoga. One of the 5 keys ways that we suffer in our life is through a fear of death, even though we all know that it is part of life. In this position, may you greet these fears, this sadness, this worry and longing to feel whole, to feel safe, to feel connected, as we all deserve as human beings, all of us. Feel into your own experience. What is strong within you today? What can be settled by the inner knowing that you are unchanging awareness? That there is a part of you that is untouched by suffering itself. Rest in that inner knowing, the spiritual understanding of the third eye chakra, of Hakini Mudra. that there is a harmony and an integration. Even when you feel so frazzled, worried, anxious, there is a part of you you can trust that is beyond these emotions. Rest there until I bring us out. Begin to make gentle movements, breaking the spell of stillness and silence, however you choose, knowing that you are entering a new beginning. Eventually, guide your knees inward toward your chest. Choose a side to roll onto. You could let your eye covering fall or just set it to the side. Curl up into a ball and keep the eyes closed if possible. Press up slowly to a seated position of your choice. And bring your hands together at your heart in Anjali Mudra, palms pressed together at the chest. For a brief moment, open up the palms, but keep all of the fingers touching. The fingertips are pointing upward. Here, another variation of Hakini Mudra. Trust that whatever you've moved through and processed has moved through and processed. There are always new layers. But now is a fresh beginning to continue to move forward in your life, unshackled by the fear, the worry, and the sadness that might keep us stuck. May you be safe, healthy, happy, and at ease, and may all beings be safe, healthy, happy, and at ease. Take a fuller breath in and breathe it all out, maybe through the mouth, as we recognize and honor all the realized beings who have brought the practice of yoga to us. Release the hands and open the eyes. And welcome yourself back into this new space. No matter what this practice stirred up or stilled in you, Know that yoga is always a balm, a practice and a philosophy, and something that we can seek and find within ourselves and bring into the world through our actions. Always means a lot. If you like this video, subscribe so you don't miss out on future practices, and you can view a lot more restorative yoga and yoga therapy classes on my website at karenbaginski.com. I hope to practice with you again sometime soon.